Okay, so tonight we're learning the teachings of Tzadok and Lublin and Parshat Yitro, and this is an amazing parsha. This is the parsha of Matan Torah. So really, we're learning about Parshat Yitro. We're really learning about connecting to Torah. Okay, so, and this is the most necessary, the most critical, basic, fundamental intro to Judaism. Is just what we're accepting the Torah. What does that mean? You know, like it says that like Parshat Bay is like a mini Pesach, and Parshat Peshalach is like a mini Shvi Pesach. So this week we have a mini Shavuos. Okay, this is we're connecting to Shavuos. We're connecting to receiving the Torah, and so the question is that what does it really mean to receive the Torah? What does it really mean to connect to Torah? And so we have to know like really what we're dealing with. So somebody asked Rav Kook once that what is the difference between Torah and any other subject, any other piece of wisdom, any other kind of like subject that you can be studying in university. And he said a very interesting response. He said that the difference between Torah and everything else is that every other subject, every other wisdom besides Torah, so you can call it dead. That it is what it is, and it cannot change. There's no dynamic. There's no flexibility. There's no elasticity. There's no what is it telling to me this moment that it is what it is, and it's very, very in the box, and it's very, very according to the rules, and there is nothing more than that. So in that sense, it's dead, as opposed to Torah. The Torah is, by its very nature, Torah is alive. Okay. Now, what exactly did he mean that the Torah is alive? So, there's a pasuk that says in Parshat V'chanan, when it's referring to Matan Torah, when it's referring to receiving the Torah, so it says Umikol basar asher shama divrei Elokim chayim kamocha v'yechi. That is there any other nation that heard that the voice of a living God like you did and lived, and that's what when referring to Matan Torah. So it refers to Matan Torah is divrei Elokim chayim, the words of a living God. Okay, and so it's very interesting that, like, of course Hashem is living. Hashem is the source of life. So of course God is alive. But the Torah felt the need to say that when He's giving the Torah, then it's important to point out that it's coming from a living God, meaning that the Torah which is being given is something which is alive. Okay, so in Chabad, so the Kol Chasidus Divrei Elokim Chayim. Like it's if you ever see a abbreviation Dalet Aleph Chet, so that's what it means. That they refer to every time that you're teaching Torah. So the Rebbe gave over Divrei Elokim Chayim. Like that's the way that they refer to Torah is Divrei Elokim Chayim, and this is to tell us that there's something in the very nature of Torah that it's supposed to be alive. So try to understand, what does this mean? What does it mean that the Torah is alive as opposed to being dead? So Tzadok calls our attention to a pasuk at the beginning of Aseret Dibros, at the beginning of the Ten Commandments, that it says Vayidaber Elohim es kol advarim ha'ela lemor, that Hashem spoke all of these things, saying, and it doesn't, and the question is, like, why does it need this extra pasuk that like it already said that this is what Hashem is going to say, and then there's an extra pasuk that says Vayidaber Elohim es kol advarim ha'ela lemor. So there's different approaches. There's a medrash that says that before he gave over the Ten Commandments, so what he did is that he said all of the Ten Commandments in one utterance, in one syllable, it was something just miraculous, that every single element of the Ten Commandments was actually going into in one utterance, and that's one approach. And the question is, like, what exactly is the point of that? And Reb Tzadok offers a different approach, and that is based on a book written by Reb Tzadok, that Reb Tzadok explains how the entire Torah, every one of the 613 mitzvahs, is actually hinted to in the Ten Commandments. And in a certain way, that if you want to go to the crux of every one of the mitzvahs, you'll find something it's sourced in, it's based in one of the Ten Commandments. Okay, so this is really, in this sense, so the Ten Commandments is a kind of yisod. It's a kind of a basic premise from which everything else blossoms out, and so he notes, or Tzadok notes, that he counted the letters of the Seis Dibros, and the letters of the Seis Dibros is 620. Now, what's 620? 620 is that there's 613 mitzvahs, and there's 7 mitzvahs d'Rabbanan. So that is the gematria of Keter. Keter means a crown. That the true crown of godliness in this world, to give Hashem a crown, is to fulfill His 620 elements, meaning also the Torah Shabbat, also the written Torah, and also the mitzvahs d'Rabbanan, and altogether that makes a Keter, that makes a crown to Hashem. And so the 620 of the mitzvahs, so that's hinted to in the 620 letters of the entire Aseret Dibros. But really, these 613 mitzvahs, 620 mitzvahs, so they aren't actually spoken out. They aren't actually expressed in the Ten Commandments.
Sorry, we're having a little charade.
They aren't really spoken out. So how is it hinted to? So it's what he didn't say. Okay? It's what he didn't say, but he wanted to express, and so Reb Tzadok explains that this is really a hint to the fact that together with the written Torah, we also got the Torah Sheba'al Peh. And it was a critical part of receiving the Torah that it couldn't be received without the oral Torah. Mm-hmm. So now, what does the oral Torah represent? So he says that when it says lemar, when it says kol advarim ha'ela means everything. Meaning everything means even what I'm not saying. Meaning that there's a lot that I'm trying to tell you that I'm not going to tell you. And you're just going to have to figure it out. You're just going to have to just somehow get it, and that's really the point. Is that if I would just be telling you what I'm telling you, so then it wouldn't really be worth reading. But because I'm actually telling you much more than what I'm telling you, so that's really what makes it so special. And that's why Torah Sheba'al couldn't be written, couldn't be given. The Torah couldn't be given over without the Torah Sheba'al Peh, because it's in the Torah Sheba'al Peh that Hashem is giving over what He isn't able to say. That He brings that, it says in Chazal that the word lemar has a connotation of bichshai, meaning the things you say quietly, the things you say like in a soft voice. That there's the things that I say you very clearly, the things that I say in the mic, and there's the things that I refuse to say in the mic. But really, those are the most important things. Once Rav Shach once told a Rebbe of mine that whatever you see in the streets that they claim that I said, you can assume I said the opposite. What you really have to say is the things you don't say in public. Is the things like when you're like there's a lot of Torah that it is specifically between the lines, and it will never be spoken properly. Like that, this is a problem with people that their entire relationship to Torah is from the internet. That there's only so much that you can get from a video. There's only so much that you can get from reading a book, and because Torah is so much deeper than that. Torah is something actually that needs to be experienced. And that's really what Torah Sheba'al Peh is all about. Torah Sheba'al Peh is the way of living Torah, which I can't really give over, I can't really speak about, and so he writes, he brings that it says in the Gemara that even though that the thing that we got from this Ma'amad HaSinai, from the revelation of Mount Sinai, was actually the 2 tablets. So the 2 tablets got broken, right? So a person could think that nothing's left. Like we were supposed to, it was a false start. It was like a nice try. Like the Ma'amad HaSinai was something that there was there was a video, but the video got ruined in the flood. So he says that the Gemara says that it was something that left, and that is that the Gemara says that uva'avor tiyeh yirato al pneichem v'vilti tachato, that the reason why Hashem is making this revelation in such a dramatic way is in order that the fear of God should be on your face, in order that you shouldn't sin your entire lives. So the Gemara in Darim says that what's it mean yirato pneichem? What's it mean that the having the fear on your face? This is referring to busha. This is referring to shame, and the feeling of shame that a person has. So that is what helps him refrain from sinning. Okay, so now first, just to define what we're talking about, there's a concept called Jewish guilt, right? That's like some it's like even like in the secular world, they're like the one thing that I'm Jewish about is that I have Jewish guilt, and like there's it's important to understand that shame is actually a very good thing, and guilt is actually a very bad thing. Okay, that when I nobody likes to feel guilt. People that like to try to get away from feelings of guilt, and I want to try to forgive myself. I want to try to live a guilt-free life, and nobody likes to. It's like, do you feel guilty right now? That's not a good feeling to feel. But on the other hand, shame is actually a very good thing. And this busha that we're talking about. So the Gemara says that there's 3 midos of the Jewish people, that they're rachmanim, baishanim, v'gam chasadim, that they have compassion, that they have shame, and that do acts of kindness. And so it's literally one of the things that describes the Jewish people. It's the point that the Gemara says, the same Gemara in Nedarim says that kol mi she'en lo busha b'yadua shelo amdu aveisav al har Sinai. If you see a person that's shameless, so then you can rest assured that his ancestors were not at Har Sinai. Like he's a fake. He's a fake. He's just somebody was telling. I don't know if it's really true, but somebody told me that there's this person that I know that he claims that he's a Kohen. That he's I don't know, he was depressed and he decided that he needs to be a Kohen to deal with his depression, so he got a letter from some rabbi that he can claim to be a Kohen because he needs it for his mental health. And so
he identifies as a Kohen.
He identifies as a Kohen, yeah. So if you have a Jewish friend that is shameless, so Chazal say that I'm not sure if you should count him for a minyan, because it doesn't make sense that he's actually Jewish if he doesn't have shame. So what is the shame? So shame is actually, we said shame is a good thing. If a person does something wrong and they ask him, "Do you have no shame?" So the correct response is, "No, I do have shame." Like you're supposed to. It's a horrible thing to not have shame is a horrible thing. And so what does it mean to? You should be ashamed of yourself. What's it mean that you should be ashamed of yourself? That you shouldn't feel like this is okay. Like it's okay. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But the difference between a person who has shame and a person who doesn't have shame is that a person who has shame, when they make a mistake, they feel ashamed of themselves, meaning that they don't feel that this is really correctly expressing themselves. That this is not a good example of the real me. So a person who's shameless, so I can do whatever the heck I want. Like nobody's going to tell me what to do. Like so that feeling of that there is no kind of model, there is nothing that I'm supposed to hold myself against. So that feeling of shamelessness, that's a very un-Jewish trait. So it says, where do we get this trait from? We got this trait from Har Sinai. That the experience at Har Sinai was so profound. It was so overwhelming that we were just our souls were just wiped away. We were just blown away from this experience, that we saw how great it is to be a Jew. We saw how great God is. We see how great our potential is of revelation. And from that experience, so every time that that we fail, every time that we don't make it up to our potential, so we have this we have this feeling of that, like, I'm not really living up to the way I should be doing, the way I should be experiencing life, and there's this natural feeling that it should be better. So this is the greatest takeaway from Maimon Sinai was what we're calling shame. What's this busha, and that is really the experience of Mount Sinai. In everything that in every class you'll go to, and every conversation you'll have. So the truth is that the more than we remember what people say, we remember how they made us feel. Yeah, that's the reality of life. Is that people say a lot of things, and you could say something very unprofound, and it'll be a good memory by you, because when the person was saying it, it just made you feel good. And the person could be saying something extremely profound, and your memory of it is that it's not such a good memory, because when they were saying it, you just felt not good about it. So really, the essence of what we take away from life is always always just the experience, much more than the actual facts, much just the actual information that's being given over. So the information that was being given over at Maimon Sinai was the Ten Commandments. But Tzadok says that what was the experience that was going on? That's the Torah Sheba'al Peh. It's so much more than these 10 commandments. It's so much more than just two things, like anything that I could tell you that this is what you should be doing. That it's what it means to be a Jew, and what it means to be a Jew is it's a culture, it's an environment, it's a whole infinite amount of different like small things of what it takes to make a Shabbos meal, and what it takes to make a Jewish home, and what it means to have like an amazing stark davening. What's it like? What does it mean? Like what does it take? Like if I'll tell you, like explain to me what I should do to have a true, authentic Shabbos experience. So there's nothing that you can write me rules. That it's something that just needs to be experienced, and it's something that it's just there. And this is what the Torah Sheba'al Peh is all about. The Torah Sheba'al Peh is this huge just world that we're entering, which is the world of Judaism, and that's what gives context to every single law that's being given down. And this is really why it says there's a pasuk in Tehillim that we say that Tamo u'ru ki tev Hashem, that taste and see that Hashem is good. That sometimes the only way to really get it is really just to taste it. That like if you tell me what it means to keep Shabbos. Well, first of all, we don't have our phones, we don't use electricity, we don't write, we don't do this, we don't do this. Like there's another 100,000 things that we don't do, and we wear nice clothing, we eat cholent, and that's Shabbos. And like I'll say like, okay, the cholent sounds nice, but no, you just don't get it. I'm not explaining it right. Just come. Just and like there is no words that I can give over what's the feeling of Shabbos, and the experience of Shabbos is something that you just need to experience, and that Rav Tzadok writes is really the difference between Torah Sheba'al Peh and Torah Sheba'al. That Torah Sheba'al Peh is the entire culture of Judaism, the entire experience, the immersive experience of Judaism that can only really be can experience through all the nuances, and the Torah could not have been given without it. The Torah couldn't have been given just the Torah Sheba'al Peh, and these are the things that can't be spoken. These are the things that can't be written down, and there is something that they're by nature always going to be just the secrets. Okay, and so this is the first element of Maimon Sinai. The first thing of what it means to have Torah, what it means to be connected to Torah, is really that the Torah, with anything that you're going to hear, you have to be aware of the fact that it's so much more than that I can explain. And I would say that this is really the essence of living a spiritual life. Is that if you want to know what does it mean to be a spiritual person, to be a Kabbalist, that to be aware of the fact that there's so much going on that is not seen, that is not visible, that to know that there's a world of spirituality that we are affecting it and it's affecting us, and to be very conscious of this reality. So that's really what Torah Sheba'al Peh is all about. The Torah Sheba'al Peh is to give over, when we're saying that it's oral Torah, what we mean is that it's something that needs to be experienced, it's something that needs to be given over in a non-conventional way, and that is really where the secrets of Torah are really hidden, and so really in Torah Sheba'al Peh is actually the essence of the secrets of Torah. Okay, so this is the first element of Ma'amad HaSinai, is that the Torah could not have been given over merely as a list of information. Okay, it needed to be given over as an entire entity, and with its secrets, which is really what the Torah Sheba'al Peh is all about. The second point is something which actually is very, very intertwined with that first point. And for the second point, Tzadok brings our attention to the fact that the Gemara says in Shabbos that Hakol Moedim Shabbos Nitn Torah. Everybody agrees that the Torah was given on Shabbos. So Tzadok wants to try to understand what is the deeper understanding, what is the deeper meaning of the fact that the Torah was given on Shabbos. And so he explains that really Shabbos is all about chidush. Shabbos is all about renewal. So what does it mean that it's about renewal? That on a simple level, so the entire week, so we do our stuff, and we're part of the rat race of life, and then Shabbos, once a week, we're forced to stop. Okay, so this act of stopping, this act of just taking a time out, taking a time out from our schedule, is actually forces us that if it wouldn't be for Shabbos, then Sunday wouldn't be Sunday, right? We call Sunday Yom Rishon. Right? If it wouldn't be for Shabbos, then there wouldn't be a Yom Rishon. That everything would just keep on going. There would be it would get annoying. I guess we could just have some abbreviations from how many millions and trillions of days. What?
Scientific notation.
Yeah, but the fact that it's every Sunday is actually Yom Rishon. So that's only because we restart. It's only because Shabbos is a restart. So Shabbos is about Chiddush, and that's why there's a very beautiful thing that it says that the reason why we're keeping Shabbos is to remember that Hashem created the world. Okay, so everybody asks that that Hashem created the world in 6 days, and then He rested on the seventh day. So in order to commemorate the fact that Hashem created the world in 6 days, we commemorate that by joining Him when He's resting. It sounds a little bit counterintuitive. It would make more sense to join Him with the creation of the world. Like Shabbos is the day that He's not creating. So why are we commemorating the day that He's not creating? So the Maharal explains that the idea is that by the fact that Hashem brought His creation to an end, by the fact that Hashem brought His creation to a culmination, so that is what proves that there was a beginning to the world. That's what proves that anything that has a beginning has an end. So from the fact that Hashem stopped creating, that means that the creation had a beginning, as opposed to that if the world was always around, so then there's no room to begin, to end. The fact that Hashem stopped creating the world, that shows that it actually has a starting point. And that's what we're commemorating, the fact that it has a beginning from the fact that it has an end. And that's what the rest of Shabbos is actually commemorating. So So Shabbos is about Chiddush. That the purpose of Shabbos is to commemorate the fact that Hashem is renewing the world, and so a person that really wants to connect to Shabbos so needs to be connected to the world of Chiddush. Okay? Well, Chiddush means novelty, and so what's the novelty of Shabbos? So it says in the Gemara that every Shabbos we get a Neshama Yisera, we get an extra soul. Now in the Zohar, so when it talks about the Neshama Yisera, so it says v'chulhad mis'adrin v'nishmas chadtin, that everybody that they take in, that they literally that they crown themselves with a new soul. It talks about the refers to the Neshama Yisera as a new soul, and so the essence of our Neshama Yisera is to have something new. That like, who are you? I'm somebody new today, and there's even a halacha ramification of this, that by Shabbos brachas. So there's a halacha that you can't make a Shabbos brachas until you have panim chadashos, until you have somebody new. There's a bigger excitement when there's somebody new in the crowd. Like if everybody does that Shabbos brachas was also at the wedding, so then it's just like, okay, let's take two. And but if somebody new, then it's like it's their first time giving a hug to the chassan. So there's something special about the fact that it's for somebody. It's somebody new, and that makes the whole affair into something new. So the Gemara says that on Shabbos you don't need Panim Chadashos. On Shabbos you don't need Panim Chadashos. That the Shabbos itself, the fact that it's Shabbos, so everybody is a Panim Chadashos. That there's something new in the fact that it's Shabbos. That it's not the same. We're not just getting together again. We're not just like celebrating again because the chassan's new, the kala's new, the guests are new, everybody's new. There's something very brand new on Shabbos, and this is really the essence of Shabbos, is to connect to this place of novelty, to connect to this place of Chiddush. There's a midrash that says that after Shabbos, so all of the neshamas yiseras, so they all they have some farbrengen in heaven, and Hashem asks every single neshama yisera, tell me what were your machadash in Shabbos? Tell me something new that you thought of on Shabbos. Thank you. Share with. He puts them all on the spot in a very awkward way, and tell us what you were machadash. Tell us this new thought that you had on Shabbos. And someone said, it says in Sfarim that if you aren't able to have new thoughts, then at least you should learn something new on Shabbos. You should learn something on Shabbos that you don't learn during the week. There should be something special on Shabbos. There should be connected to the world of Chiddush. Everything should be different. Everything should be new on Shabbos. And so the essence of Shabbos is to connect to the world of novelty, to connect to the world of Chiddush. Okay? So this world of Chiddush, this is actually the most amazing place to be in. When life is new, life is exciting. The Baal Shem Tov said once that he's jealous of people who are beginning at the beginning of Chassidus, people who are new to Chassidus, people that like this is their first experience with spirituality. That like there's something that they taste it, they experience the spirituality with it just pierces their heart. Like when it's the first time that you're feeling something, when you're feeling something real, like a person that says like wow, I think that was the first time I really davened. But like when you feel that you experience God for the first time, there's something so powerful about that it'll never come back. It's like it's a shame. It's like the Baal Shem Tov was saying that like he's jealous of people that are coming to his shir for the first time. There are people that are experiencing spirituality for the first time. It's something that so Shabbos is a little bit a way to get into this world of novelty. Shabbos is that I'm somebody new and I'm able to relate to the world as somebody new with novelty, and this is the world of Chiddush. And And the Tzadok brings a midrash that says that this is really that what Matan Torah was meant to be, and that's why it says that this pasuk in this week's Parsha. It says Bayom Hazeh Bao Midbar Sinai, and the midrash says, Rashi brings down, what does it mean Bayom Hazeh? That every day that you learn Torah, it should be in your eyes Kiyam Shednitna. It should be like the day that you receive the Torah. Meaning that we're called upon that every single time that we learn Torah, that we should have this excitement that this is the first time I ever saw it. This is the first time that I'm ever experiencing it. They're like, whoa! This is mind breaking. This is so revolutionary, and the connection to Torah needs to be something which is just inspiring, which is amazing, which blows us away, and that it's as if it's the first time we ever saw it. Okay, and so this is something that the Torah was giving in this fashion of Bayom Hazeh, that Hashem is telling us that every single time that you open up a Chumash, every time you open a Sefer, that I want you to feel that your connection to Torah, that this is the first time that you're receiving Torah, that you're mamish, that you've never heard this before, and that it should be your first encounter. It should be your first encounter, and there's something very, it's a big challenge to be able to connect to this as if it's your first encounter is something which is very, very difficult. That because we've heard the story for so many times. There was I heard the story about this righteous lady that was reading to she was listening to the Kriyas Torah when it was Parshat, the Parshat when he sold Yosef, his brothers sold him, and they were getting up to the Yosef asked his brothers that have you he asked this stranger have you seen my brothers, and the man told him I saw they were going to Dosan, and so he said, oh, okay, I'll go follow them, and she says, no, don't follow them, don't remember from last year. and so there's certain we've already heard, we know the story, it's already we know what the end is already, and there's nothing running watching reruns of movies we've seen that we know already. So there's nothing that could bring back that first time, that first excitement, and yet the Torah is commanding us that we're obligated that when we read it, it should be that with that excitement that it's the first time that we're connected to the Torah. So how exactly are we supposed to do this? So there's people that they always have something interesting to say. That there's the Rabbi Sachs. So I forgot who it was. He spoke about some Israeli writer that he never heard him say a boring word. That he had many conversations with him, and that he could be commenting about the coffee, and it would be something profound about his comment about the coffee. That he didn't have he couldn't say a boring word. And there's something that's really what the Torah is really calling us to be, and that is that there's people that are basically their look on life is old, and their look on life and their Torah is old, and there's people like this certain Rosh Hashiva that somebody was telling me about, that the shir that he gives, it's the exact same shir that he was giving 40 years ago, and so I know with my Rebbe it was not like that at all. With Rebbe Fel Shmulevitz, that he every year he would have a new idea that he would write down, and he loved when he asked a good question, he would the best compliment that you can get was that if you ask a question, he wrote down your question because he wanted to think about it later. That was the best compliment. And it was everything was very alive, and you felt very much that this is not this is what it is, and and just if you have a question, there's something wrong with you. And there was something very vibrant about the whole conversation. And this is really what Torah Sheba'al Peh is all about. That Torah Sheba'al Peh is really endless, because every conversation that we had is really we're climbing on the shoulders of the generations before us, and so Torah is getting even, it's always getting bigger, and like it just gets more complicated, and like one of my rebbeim once said that like if you have a good kasha, if you have a good question on my shtickle Torah, so then it's beautiful. It'll just make it longer. It'll just make it. So like okay, so now I'll have like a chapter 2. Now I have chapter 2 is to explain why your question is really not so difficult, and really and like he knew that okay, wow, now I need to think again and really look and see how it's even more complicated and even more deep than I realized it was before. And like we're not afraid of questions, but every element of the conversation is really just making the Torah deeper, making the Torah just more amazing. So now so there's two kinds of people. There's people who are old people, the people who are just like the once upon a time that they had their ideas. And I was once a guest at this professor. It was not a friend of mine. I had a friend of his family that was a professor in Hebrew U, and he was a professor of Talmud, I believe, and so or maybe he wasn't a professor of Talmud. He was a professor of mathematics. So my friend's father was a mathematician at Harvard. Then he made Aliyah, and so he had a friend who was a mathematician. So we were eating. So he brought us for a meal at his house, and so he was telling us this idea of how this mathematical theory is actually hinted to in the Mishnah and Ksubas, and it was so funny to me. He said, "Do you mind if I say it in Hebrew? Because I say this class in Hebrew, and I'm so used to saying in Hebrew that it's more natural for me to say it in Hebrew." And as he was saying it, I was like noticing that like you bore yourself, you know. That like it was just like he had said this exact class word for word already 200 300 times, and so he's just like saying it like he could be doing something else at the same time, and he's bored of himself, so he's like he doesn't want to say it in English because like that would require him to like think, and he's so much like living in the past, and he's that's called being old, that's called being dead. Okay, so as opposed to a real person who are people who are alive, so they're actually there when they're talking to a thing. They're not just like saying it by rote. You understand? Like he was literally saying by rote, like by rote, like the way that like we say Shemona Esrei, like we don't really like think about like he was saying a class. He was trying to give over an idea, just by rote. Like he was like he could have like fallen asleep. He was like falling asleep as he's giving his class, and so our relationship to Torah is being called upon to be the opposite. That we're extremely highly conscious. That we're very, very aware. And the truth is that when you're a highly conscious person, when you're very alive, when you're very, very aware, so that there's actually always interesting things to notice. That when you're very alive, so then you ever notice that there's people that they're just interesting people. They're just like I was saying from Rav Sachs. They're like there's people that, and no, to be honest, like to be a comedian, no, that's part of the art of being a comedian is you need to be able to be very, very in the moment, and you're able to like
do really bad ones, so it doesn't count. No, I'm kidding. Thank you.
I know you're kidding. So the second best. So to be able to be in the moment, so then you're always noticing things, and there's always interesting things. Like life is actually interesting unless you're dead. Okay, if you're a dead person, then there's nothing interesting, and if you're a very alive person, there's always something interesting, and you're going to walk around, and like if you ever like sometimes like I'm walking with my kids, and And so just because, like, I don't know if it's like chicken or the egg, like that because I'm with my kids, so like I want to just have a conversation with them, and I just notice things, and you suddenly notice things that you never noticed before. You notice, like, it's so interesting that over here in this building, so the top is this kind of brick, and the bottom this kind of brick, and then, wow, like you see, like there's this kind of picture over here, and then, wow, this looks like it's like 70 years old, like I can't believe I never noticed this, and like just when you suddenly life becomes interesting. Suddenly, like when you're in the right state of mind, then life is actually very interesting. And so this is really the state of mind that we're being called upon to live every Shabbos. Now that's what it means. That's what it means that Shabbos is about Chiddush. When we say the Shabbos is about Chiddush, what we really mean is that we're being called upon to really connect to our Neshama Yisera. We're being called upon to be new, to be their experience to life is something brand new that's never happened before, and it's through our new experiences that everything is a chiddush. That we're noticing new things in Torah. That every time we're learning the Parshat, we're noticing nuances that we never connected to before, and it's a different Parshat every single week. And it's just our experience to life, our experience to prayer is a brand new experience. And so this is what Reb Tzadok says, that this is why how Kol Moedim Shabbos in the Torah. So what Chazal are really telling us is that the only way to connect to Torah is with this energy of Shabbos, which is the energy of Chiddush, which is that I'm sitting down to learn Torah, that like with a high consciousness, with very alive, and I'm very, very noticing things in a brand new way. I'm very present, and so therefore I'm going to naturally notice things that I've never noticed before. And so this is really circles back to what Rav Kook said, that this is the difference between Torah and everything else. That when we say the Torah is alive, so it means that it's vibrant. It means that it's always becoming, it's always building, there's always new elements to Torah, and the new elements are coming through our personal experiences, through our personal connection to Torah, and this is really why Torah needed to be given together with the Torah Sheba'al Peh, with the different Elokim Chaim, that with the Torah Sheba'al Peh, which is the things that can't be stated, the experience, the immersive element of Judaism, that it's only through just jumping into the entire Kit and Kabbalah that we're able to reach Torah with the proper perspective, and that's what enables us to really be machadish, to really come to our personal part in the Torah. And this is what we daven on Shabbos, V'tein chalkenu b'Toratacha, that Hashem, please give us our portion in the Torah. When we're asking Hashem for our portion in the Torah, this is what we mean. We mean that I know that if I'm going to be alive, if I'm going to be present, if I'm going to really be living a high conscious life, so then I'm going to be able to notice things that I've never noticed before. I'm going to be able to notice things that nobody has ever noticed before. And that's what we're asking Hashem, that V'tein chalkenu b'Toratacha. So this is really what Torah is all about. And when we're receiving the Torah, so we're being called upon to make sure that we're not receiving a dead Torah, that we're connecting to a live Torah. And the secret to connecting to a live Torah is very simple. It's to be very alive. To be very alive. And when we're very alive, so then that everything is new, everything is exciting, everything is interesting, and we'll notice that life is more fun, that we are more interesting people, and of course Torah is also just brand new. Everything is brand new. So I bless us all that we should really connect to Shabbos, and we should really be able to be constantly in a Shabbos mode. We should be constantly connecting to the novelty of life, to the novelty of everything, in every interaction, in every cup of tea, in every conversation, in every Torah that we learn, every story that we tell, everything that everything should be exciting, and everything should be brand new. B'ezrat Hashem. L'chaim, l'chaim.